I think I always made the comment that once a miller, always a miller.
Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! Good heavens, he's done it again! Another promotion for the big man.
I've got 12 bottles of champagne in my office and we're going to drink them all night.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. Thank you all for being with us tonight. We have a preview show. We have another chance to break this away record. 669 days Saturday will be, where we have a chance to end that misery at somewhere that we haven't won. Well, we'll go through that it's a long time. We'll go through that in a minute. Mick, how are you doing, first of all?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all good, thank you very much. You?
Yes, very, very good. And Joy's back. How are you doing, Joy?
Yeah, glad to be back. Glad to be back.
Good stuff. Good to be here. First of all, we're going to start with non-Rotherham United related news. We want to say congratulations to Victor Johansson for his first competitive game and first start for Sweden. He only went and saved a penalty, so he had a quiet game. Well, yeah, win for Sweden and a penalty save on his debut is a pretty good way to do that. So congratulations to Victor, and if Tobias is watching, I'm sure you're very, 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 very proud of your lad, and rightly so. So yeah, that's what we want to start with because it's good news. We like good news on this place. Martin Holland's with us, as is YouTube. Says, good evening, one and all. It's time for an away win. Yes, it is. Kelly for Bobs is with us, as is Steve Grundy and Craig. Tom Ayres in the comments. Tom should be revising or something. So turn us off, Tom. Well, leave it on. Mute it, and then you can come back to it later. Watch it again later, so we get double reviews. Joy, you obviously went with in the last episode, but we had the win on Saturday. Give us your sort of general thoughts and feelings and positive vibes coming out of the game, I assume.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was relief, great relief in one sense, because like I said, our XG when I was last on must be off the scale. So to finally get something in the net in a league game was really good. And what was good as well is sort of coming from a goal down. I thought in that second half we played really well, and we did have a plan B. Actually, it proved that we've got a plan B. I thought the first half was a bit as it has been for the previous games, and it could have been 2-1 at half time, couldn't it? Because they missed a sitter as much as we had a couple of decent chances as well, and their keeper was their man of the match, so I think that says a lot. But no, it was and I think we deserved it on balance in that second half. And and what it was nice was the crowd got behind the team, and we had a bit of atmosphere which we haven't had in New York for, well, I can't remember last time we had any sort of decent atmosphere in there. And I think, like I said, I think it was just like a communal sense of relief from the fans, the management and the team and everybody concerned. And I think we all came away feeling really good.
Definitely. It's just going to show that we can all talk about atmosphere and ways to improve the atmosphere. The way to improve the atmosphere is just play better. The players just give us something to shout about. The fans will respond. They've shown that in that last half of that game. Fans will respond if the players give us something, and that's something we've been saying for a while on here. Yeah, there's always something that can be done better, but it's on the players a lot of this, and it has been to the players last time. Let's pick up on point where Joyce said that, Mick, about because this feeds into this week and the rest of the season, winning from behind. That's been a huge, huge problem for us in the last 2 years, especially in the Championship, and that's a really good sign of one of the things that Steve Evans does bring to his teams, to his successful teams anyway, is they never die. They never, ever know. At that 2013-14 League One season, they did not know when to lie down. And if you've got that, it's only a small sample size. It's one game and they were down to 10 men and everything else. But if you can get a team that will not lie down, you are going to give yourself a hell of a chance to do whatever you want to do in the season ahead.
Absolutely. And you're right. That's what he's done previously. And hopefully he can get this team to do the same sort of thing. it came alive, didn't it? It came alive with the sending off, and it showed how much influence the crowd have on the team. I think you know, it really lifted them. It lifted the performance, and it got us. It went some way to getting the result. But you're right. It felt. I'm going to say it felt like we had a plan. I'm not sure. I'm quite up with Joy on the plan B, because I'm still not entirely convinced. But the performance overall was so much better. So if he can get them to gel, which he will to a degree, we know he will, you know. And I think despite all the criticism that I've had for him, I think I've always tried to qualify that by saying it is early in the season. I'm hoping that he pulls it together. And you're right, look, winning from behind is a massive boost to that. Winning is a massive boost to it, isn't it? Scoring a goal is a massive boost. Winning all them things. So it's it's positive. It's really positive coming out of last Saturday, particularly given what's gone before.
Yeah, definitely. We have in the comments, we've Charlton Live. We've got Louis from Charlton Live on the Scout Report. That's out tomorrow. He says that they haven't lost since February at home. We haven't won away since 1947. There's only one way that this is going. Football.
Yeah.
By the way, this is lovely. I don't know if you've seen this over the weekend. Football, and you know I love football in symmetry. Have you seen the football in symmetry with Reading and Charlton?
Did you know?
So in Reading, in Nathan Jones's first game as Charlton manager, he lost 2-0 to away at Reading, and Reading scored in something like the 67th minute and the 71st minute. Reading beat Charlton on the weekend in about the 67th minute and the 71st minute in exactly the same minutes. It's brilliant. I love it. It's for what I'm here. That's kind of symmetry I'm here for.
Yeah.
John Morell's with us, as is Tobias. Tobias is saying, "Evening, what an evening."
Congratulations, big man.
Yes, absolutely.
Chris Sanderson says, "Was that mixed tattoo I just spotted? I'm sure it read, 'I love the fat cheeseburger.'"
I like it, Chris. If I thought about that, I definitely wouldn't have done it.
Right, let's start talking specifics about the game itself, Joy. Like I mentioned, Charlton's a very, very, very bad place for us to go. We haven't beaten Charlton full stop since '83. We haven't beaten them at the Valley since 1982, which was the same season. Even when we play them and they're on a downward spiral, they always seem to do us. They really are our bogey team. But maybe the stars are aligning this time. They've lost, we've won. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe not. We won't know until 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, will we? You know, I mean, how many times have we sort of won a game and gone in all high and confident, and then had the rug pulled from underneath us? I'm not trying to be miserable. You know, I am called Joy. I try to live up to it. But you just know it'd just be the obvious Rotherham thing to do, wouldn't it? To sort of have such a good result on Saturday and then follow it up with something less than satisfactory, shall we say. I mean, like everybody, I mean, I'm going. You guys aren't even going. At least I'm going. You know, I've got my ticket. While I was up in Rotherham this week, I got my ticket. So I shall be wending my way to South East London. Actually, it's probably my nearest home game, to be honest, from where I live.
Yeah.
So...
So it's not to brag about then, really, is it?
So I must admit, I like going to Charlton. It's one of my favourite grounds. I just really like going to Charlton, and I like that chip shop as you go down the hill on the way in. But I just like going to Charlton. We always stay. We go to a really good pub beforehand as well, which is, you know, again, it helps. All, you know, the social side of it helps, and having a decent drink and meeting your mates and going down there as a gang and being, you know. And I've always found it nice in Charlton. The fans are really good down there. They're knowledgeable. You know, they like the football. They've not had good times down there. Let's be honest. In recent years, far, you know, and it's good if they are on the up, because they are a bigger club than we are, and they don't need to be in the level that they are, but they've just been totally mismanaged and misowned over the last, well, probably decade, I would suggest. And obviously Nathan Jones has gone there, which obviously with what happened when he came to see us and said thank you but no thank you, and then turns up within weeks at Charlton, you think, I mean, I think a lot of us would like to do one on Nathan Jones, to be honest, because of the way, I think personally it was a little disrespectful. I don't know, but you know, there you go.
Yeah, we'll have a good subplot. Not only do I like symmetry, I like subplots. It's bad news though, Joy. The Chippy has closed.
Oh no!
Joy's not going there.
Damn. Well, at least I can have a decent drink before. I know the pub's not shut that we go to. At least I hope it's not.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Joy, like Joy mentioned, Tom will be there as well. So if you see Tom, say hello to him. Say hello to Joy while you're there. If anybody that's not going, it is on Sky Sports Plus. It's our third or fourth game that it's been on, and there's been problems with all three games that have been on before, whether the stream fails halfway through or there's no commentator for half of one of them. So get ready to all be angry together when Sky Sports Plus fails, as it inevitably will do. Nathan Jones, Mick, and Joy's mentioned him. It adds something to it for us, and I don't. Stephen probably won't even know this or think about this, or it might do actually. But it adds something to us as fans. If we can get one over on him a little bit, Joy's right. I like Nathan Jones as a manager. Don't get me wrong. If we'd have been here, I'd have been buzzing about it. But how it all went, I'd be kind of like, you know what, just two fingers up to him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, I certainly was an advocate for us getting him when middle of last season when we were when we had the manager debacle, and arguably you could say that perhaps he bears some responsibility for the length of time it took, given his fannying about when he was, I would suggest, offered the job by Tony Stewart. So there is that part of it. But the blame for me, as we've discussed many times, lies fairly squarely with the chairman. I don't attach any blame to Jones at all. I think he bottled the job. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He bottled it. However, you don't know what he was and wasn't offered. I don't know the current situation down at Charlton in terms of ownership and everything else. Whether they're still in a position where the owners are still, a bit iffy.
They've improved.
If they are,
they've improved significantly.
Right, fine. Well, he's obviously been given certain assurances that he's going to be given, some money and time to develop the team down there, and he's capable of doing it, isn't he? There's no doubt he's capable of doing it because he's proved he can. But he's very similar to Steve Evans in terms of his likability. I think from opposition supporters, whilst his behaviour is not exactly the same, it's out of the same textbook, isn't it? Unable to control yourself when you lose, and unable to control yourself when you win. In fact, basically just unable to control yourself. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic between those two on touchline on Saturday, because you've got two very, very fiery characters. And so at some stage, I would imagine there will be some dummies and teddies thrown from one or both of the technical areas. Yeah, I mean, we all saw the interview of him last week. And you know what? If Steve Evans gave that kind of interview, I wouldn't be in the least little bit surprised. I think he's probably more... I'm trying to think of the right word, and it's not professionalism. That's not the word that I'm looking at. It's probably more...
It's better with the media, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's probably more accomplished at showing his rage in a more... articulate manner, shall we say, than
not raging off his nut.
But even so, it's just as funny. It's just as funny for fans who are not supporting that club. That was hilarious, Nathan. A beautiful thing to watch. It really was.
Yeah. I'd love it if Evans come out after the weekend and said he was raging off his nut. That'd be so good. Especially if we won or whatever. Yeah. Scott Green says, "Let's hope the two League One champion defenders are back on Saturday. Yeah, there's a potential for that. We'll come on to that." Joshua Caswell says, "Hope we can beat the mardy little man. So no goofball, Mr. Evans." This is the potential problem, and we've found this when we come against Nathan Jones' sides in the past, Joy, under Warney, was what Nathan Jones tends to do is what we like to do, but he has in the past had much better players than us and been better at it than us. So this is going to be interesting to see where we are compared to them, because they'll be drilled down to the 9s and 10s on Saturday, because Nathan Jones has got a set style. So this will be a good test to see where we are, as well as everything else. If we can play better than them, then that would give me real confidence, because they'll be up there as well.
I mean, they've started off the season pretty well last weekend, aside. Yeah, I mean, at Luton and what have you, I mean, to think that they thought that way of playing would transfer to Southampton at that time is like beyond me. And obviously it did fail miserably. And hence, I mean, he's at Charlton now and he's probably doing something. I mean, and he's made some good signings down there as well, I think. And they seem to be pulling together and have an identity. And I agree, if we can put some sort of showing up, not get embarrassed, then I think it's all steps in the right direction in terms of team building, confidence building. I mean, we're still in the early days of the season, and yes, I know we've only got 4 points, and there is the issue about if we lose any more ground, where's that going to be even at such an early stage of the season? But I think how we perform is going to be key as to how we develop later this month in September and into October, etc. Because by now we should be getting the gelling of the team. I think there should be that nucleus there, that core there, that way of playing. And I know I mentioned it previously, but I think there was more of a plan B on Saturday last. It wasn't total hoofball. We did actually play some decent football on Saturday as well. Some good passing play. If we can get I don't know if it's the caliber of the players we've got or the confidence or whatever, but there were little snapshots of it on Saturday. I thought that you can see what they're endeavouring to do. And if, like I said previously when I was on, they've only been doing it in snatches in 10-minute bits of a game, but they managed to do it for the majority of that second half. And if they can build on that and keep building on that, then hopefully we will, in the not too distant future, get a full decent game where we are in the ascendancy, taking our chances. And like some people have said previously, we're going to hammer somebody at some point. I'm not saying that's going to be Charlton, but I would just like to see, as Mr. Stewart's favourite saying is, incremental improvement over what we've had, if that makes sense. I mean, I'd like us to win, but if we don't, I don't want us to have taken 1 step forward on Saturday and 3 steps back this Saturday coming. Yeah,
definitely. I just want to go back to Tuesday night. We obviously didn't play, but there was the other group in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy. Newcastle and Bradford drew. Newcastle got the penalty point. So we are still top of that group, if anybody's interested. Anybody interested?
Yeah.
Not really. That's fine. Although, Mick, having to segue from that, let's talk about Andre Green. Andre Green is nearing fitness. And he talked about that competition. He said it's important to stay in the cup competitions because for him, that's where he's going to get his minutes.
Yeah.
I think we play Bradford in November and 11th of November, something like that, or maybe the week after. So it is going to be important to try and stay in that competition, try and stay in the FA Cup, because if you can get Andre Green back to full fitness, my God, he's going to be some player at this level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think did I tip him for top goal scorer or player of the season? I think I can't remember
one of those. Yeah.
And you're right. He is. There is no way on this earth that Andre Green should be playing in League One. Absolutely no way whatsoever. So we've dropped on our feet in terms of the injury that he had last season, and us not having to taint him or him be tainted with the performances that we put in last year. You know, it's kind of passed him by a little bit from an actual footballing point of view, because he's been nothing more than a spectator for 12 months. So if we can get him back to fitness, you're absolutely right. He's going to be a bit of a cheat code for this level, but only one. You know, and obviously you need more. You need more one player to shine. But yeah, quality, and it's great to see him back out on the grass and hopefully not too far away from getting some game time, whether it be behind closed doors or in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, whatever. But let's get him on that pitch, because he could potentially be a key player for us.
Reading between the lines, Evans says he's nowhere near, but then said that he's I think he said he's pretty close to coming back with the group, and then he needs at least two weeks with the team, with the players on the grass before he's ready to play games. And then when he's ready to play games, he then needs to build up his match fitness. So you're probably talking to, I think if we can get that game against Bradford in November, mid-November, I'd be earmarking that if I was Evans and Andre Green, saying, right, this is a potential to get an hour out of Andre Green at that point. And if we get through to the next round, and there's FA Cup around October, November time as well, there's a few games if we get a really kind draw in the FA Cup against a non-league team, again, that's perfect, potentially going to be perfect for Andre Green. Scott Grundy says it was good to see the players clap Green onto the grass. Yeah. It was joyous. That was a really nice moment captured by the club, and it potentially shows a little bit of togetherness in this squad as well. We saw at the end of the Huddersfield game as well, and obviously with Green on there. Green's not been part of the squad for a year, but there's still that something there between the players. So it does suggest that we've potentially got a good group here.
Well, I mean, it's indicative of camaraderie, isn't it? You know, obviously he is around the training ground, so they'll probably see him every day now. He's on the grass, so and they'll be aware of what he's doing or not doing, as the case may be. And I suspect he, as an individual, will find that incredibly encouraging. If you're basically your work colleagues are clapping you and, you know, saying get on with it, you know, we need you, mate, we need you. Yeah, that's really good. And I think that's the sort of thing that Evans is bringing, isn't it? I mean, I think we sort of lost that last year. We made a lot of signings. I'm not saying, on paper, and we don't play on paper, as we know. We were all happy at the beginning of last season. They were all good signings, or seemed to be good signings, but it didn't pan out for whatever reason. But you never got the feeling there was the camaraderie with that group of guys, did you? Well, I didn't.
I agree.
Yeah. So, but then again, I suppose when you're losing every week and then being battered every week, it's just not very nice, is it? It's not a nice environment to be in. So you're not going to be feeling hale and hearty. So, you know, the win on Saturday, I think, like I said, it was a relief to everybody, and hopefully it's a confidence builder that they need to move forward. And the clapping of Andre Green, I think, was just sort of indicative of the camaraderie out there with the guys.
Yeah, definitely. You could tell we're not won a meaningful game in a while. We have any tweets and posts the club put out over the last couple of days after. They were all over it. They didn't miss a single. I think they tweeted out the whole game throughout the whole thing. But it must be nice to actually talk about something. Much as it was for us on Sunday to talk about something happy, I imagine it's really good for them to actually post something that's not a Carabao Cup, a Carabao energy drink offer and all that nonsense that they've got to do. It's actually happy stuff that people can respond nicely to. I must make a change, bearing in mind the last 2 years we've had. Tom Morrell, can someone please explain the Bristol Street Motors Mickey Mouse Cup? Bonus points for a penalty win. I mean, how to show competition has no credibility. Yeah, no, we've been in this loads. We won this competition. The penalty shootout thing in group stage just still blows my mind a little bit, to be honest. Although I think we won one a few years ago. But I do think it's completely pointless. What you should do is win the game in 90 minutes like we do. And then it's going to come back to bite me, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't even know what that means. What happens if it's a draw? It goes to a penalty shootout, and whoever wins it gets a point.
Do you not know this?
No.
Yeah. So like in the group stages, if it's a draw, there's an extra point on the table if whoever wins the penalty shootout.
Right.
I don't know.
Or a point if you draw.
Yeah.
So basically, what happens is if you draw and don't win the penalty shootout, you have a point taken off you.
Yeah.
What? Well, no.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't get any points, do you? Normally for a draw, you get a point each, don't you? But
Yeah.
You get a point.
yes.
You get a point each, and then the other team get an extra point.
Oh, so you get
Alright.
2 points if you win
So
penalty
it's 2 points.
shootout.
The Newcastle on 2 points. 2 points
Wowzers.
from one game.
I mean, I agree with John. It's proper Mickey Mouse, isn't it? It really is.
To be fair, the last time we were in this competition, I think we won a group stage game 6-0, 5-0, and 4-1 or something stupid like that, weren't it?
Yeah. I mean, is this just some sort of way of trying to get the Premier League teams a little bit further into competition? You know, because they might probably be better at taking penalties than playing football. Because it would appear that's the case at the moment, looking at some of the results.
Well, I think that one of the reasons it was brought in, and this is going to get really boring, I think that one of the reasons it was brought in because they tried changing the penalty shootout to they called it the ABBA system, didn't they? The one team takes one, the other team takes two, then one.
Oh, yeah.
God.
So
Why?
I remember that. Yes.
they scrapped it, mate. Don't worry about it. They scrapped it.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's done. We can forget. But I think that's one of the reasons because that trophy's always been good at.
I'm being loved. I do apologise.
Audio listeners, Johnny's dog's turned up. That's not just me randomly laughing. And but yeah, this competition is we used to be used as test things. Remember the 10-yard for descent thing, and that was brought in through this competition, weren't it?
Right.
I think that's anyway.
Whatever.
Boring, that one.
Whatever.
Boring,
I'm not interested. Unless we get to Wembley, I'm not really interested. Then I'll be interested. I am a Sheffield Wednesday supporter of this as far as this competition is
England,
concerned.
you're an England supporter.
Yeah, whichever way, whatever. You know, if we win in and get it unlikely to win something, then all of a sudden I'll be interested. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit and moan about it. Typical Dida.
Fair enough. Yeah.
My inner Dida coming out in me.
Just Caswell, what next? Points given for the colour of the boots. Yeah, we could do. All for innovation. John Rell says, you think you should have the option to not enter the competition so you can sack it off early? Yeah, you could just lose all your games, which some teams like to do. Mick, back to the Charlton game. There are positive news on injury fronts, really positive news. Sean Raggett and Joe Rafferty both trained earlier in the week, so then it just depends on, Evan said it depends on how they react today, what day, on Thursday. And I think they said they're going to train in London tomorrow. That is key, particularly Rafferty. I like Raggett, and Raggett comes back, that'd be amazing. But Rafferty is key to getting that balance back and then getting hacks in the field or whatever else the case may be. That'd be a really big, especially going into a tough game like this. That'd be massive.
I think so, particularly Rafferty. As you say, Raggett, I'm not sold at the moment. I'm really not sold on Raggett. I don't see. I'm probably going to get slated for this. I don't see a massive difference between him and Jamie McCart in terms of ability. Okay. I really don't. They both have the same failings in terms of being very slow, easy to get around the back of, and kind of having defenders get the wrong side of them regularly. They both seem to be much of a muchness as far as I can see, based on 4 or 5 games. Obviously, you've got to caveat everything we say with that at the moment because of all the number of new players that we've got. But the right back side of it is a massive issue, as we've gone on and on about. And the lad that we signed as a right back 3 or 4 seasons ago is wasted in that position on the basis that he's not a right back, never been a right back, and he's only ever filled in there. So we don't want Hakeem Adofin wasted back there. So if we can get Rafferty back with all the experience that he has as well, that'd be a massive, massive boost for me anyway. Raggett, I can take a leave personally. He may well prove me wrong. I hope he does. But yeah, Rafferty for me is key.
Yeah, actually, if Powell practices his corner and gets in Raggett's massive head, will score from corners. That's something Raggett does give you a proper threat, proper style threat. Harry says, in the polar opposite to make, I think Raggett has been our best signing.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? You know, because it's just it's what I see. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm right by any stretch. You know, it won title last season with Portsmouth. Can't be that bad, can it? You know what I mean?
He's got a limitation. If he didn't have his limitations, it'd still be with Pompey, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But yeah, What are your thoughts on Raggett, Joy? I think him and Cam Humphreys as a two with whatever fullbacks you've got, I think that they work nicely together. I think you've got a big, bulky Richard Wood type player, and then you've got a fairly quick, skillful guy next to him. They seem to, that in my head, that's a really, really nice pairing.
Well, I assume that's what Raggett was brought in for, to be the pairing with Humphreys, to be honest. But I mean, he just got injured, didn't he, in that game where he went for when he did his knee in. What I would like to see is a little bit more of a solid defence. I'd like to think that we could keep a clean sheet, because we haven't had one of those yet, have we? Well, not in the league.
We got one at Bristol Rovers, didn't we? The 0-0.
Well, yeah, but
don't really count that, does it?
An awful lot, did they? Let's be honest. They were a Matt Taylor team, so they didn't actually get beyond the halfway line very often, did they? But no, I just like. It's even like, when we conceded against 10 men. Yeah, I know McCart was off, and that again, the mooted point about should he been off because it was a red card, etc. And the fact that they just went through as like a dose of salts down that side. Yeah, when we had 11 players on the pitch, and it was from an attack that we were making that they scored, and they only had 10 players. I just want to see a little bit more robustness in defence, to be brutally honest. Whether that comes from being more defensively midfield or with the defence themselves, and maybe Rafferty coming back might help that, if that means that Hax is in front of that back four as well. Just thinking, because that's his usual role, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's interesting because we haven't
had to fill in there, didn't he? And he, didn't complete that header very well, did he? Shall we say?
No. And it's interesting with this defence, because you're right. If you look at the stats, I think our XG against is probably pretty good. But every time we've been tested, the first goal against Wickham was poor from 3 different people. The Exeter goal was rubbish from 2 or 3 different people, Mick. Again, the Huddersfield goal was quite good by Corona, but there's a lot of problems there. Whenever we look tested, we look weak, and we've not been put under much pressure by the opposition. Exeter didn't put us under too much pressure. Bristol Rovers certainly didn't. Wickham didn't really, but they had the chances. And again, Huddersfield didn't really put us under pressure. But when we have that pressure, we've folded so far, really, in defence. Or is that harsh?
I think it is possibly maybe a bit harsh. I don't know as we folded. I think we just made mistakes when we were put under pressure. Maybe that's what that is. Maybe that's folding. I don't know. But certainly for me, the goal we conceded against Exeter, the goal we conceded against Huddersfield, I'm not going to put necessarily down to a mistake. Well, it was, but a mistake by the referee, in my view. And certainly the first goal against Wickham was down to defensive mistakes rather than just being outplayed, if you like, or it was poor positioning. It was just essentially poor organisation and mistakes. So we do need to tighten up at the back. I don't feel that we're as organised as we could be, but we hadn't had a settled back line. We hadn't had a single. Maybe we have played with the same back line. I don't know. I think we're possibly in the last game with Hax back there again, but we haven't got established players. At least one of the positions is somebody playing out of position. So once we get into the swing of the season and we can start to name an unchanged side, then hopefully those mistakes are not going to happen every game, and hopefully we'll be able to tighten up back there. But it does feel like the goals that we've conceded are down to a lack of organisation and individual errors, mistakes, either falling over or missing a tackle or whatever. So it just needs tightening up back there, and I think bringing somebody with the experience of Rafferty back in, and Raggett with his experience, will help that. So yeah, I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be fine, but it's going to take some time until we can settle that back line down and settle on the goalkeeper as well. Because at the moment I'm neither are convincing me.
Okay, fair enough. Philip's going back to his former club on Saturday. He was part of Charlton's promotion-winning team, won the playoff final against Sunderland in 2016, 17-ish, something like that. I remember in 2019. When we weren't in the league, I think is when it was. Tom Cartley said, yeah, defence was poorest against Fleetwood. Yeah, absolutely was that first half. But Bramwell were playing, weren't he? Who was quite clearly not a Steve Evans player. Go checking your head, mate. Go on.
I don't like all this. I like Colin Bramwell. Don't be nasty to him. I like him. Nice bloke. I just like him. Yeah, I don't know. I've no idea. Just seems to be. And I don't think he deserves a lot of the pelters that he gets, to be honest. Yeah, he's got his frailties. Yeah, he has as a defender. I don't want to see him defend him, frankly. I want to see him further up pitch, but be nice to him. That's all I'm saying.
Be nice to him.
Eh?
But we can give Steve Evans loads of pelters.
No, I'm trying to turn over a new leaf and be nice. I want to try and be nice, Mick.
Hey, really? Interesting. Okay, we'll see how long that lasts, shall we?
Yeah. Set your timer.
Baz in the comments says, if you want to play hacks in midfield when Rafa is fit, who drops out? And that's the question, Joy, because the second half last week at the midfield was quite good because we used it. But then somebody's going to, if you do want to play hacks in there, which I think all of us do, who kind of drops out of that midfield? Because Kelly was really, really good. Powell and Reece James were really, really good. He was okay. I would probably take Teehee out. Yeah.
Yeah, there's your answer. Teehee's going to be the one that drops out, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's quite straightforward myself.
Right,
Talk myself. Yeah, that's spoke the answer. Yeah, Tom Kelly says on Bramwell needs to play on the wing. Josh Caswell agrees with that one as well. Is there any other changes going forward, Joy? Because obviously that front three last week was really, really good. Wilkes, Clark Harris, and Nombe. Well, Nombe and Wilkes were really, really good for me. Clark Harris was okay. Would you be tempted to bring Hugill back in? Because he was really, really good against Wickham and probably unlucky to lose his spot, to be honest.
No, I think there was some fluidity between the three of them last week. And if you're wanting that fluidity, and they're quite different in the way that they play, the three of them. And I think Hugill's a good backstop, isn't he? When he comes on, he's a different kind of number 9 to Johnson Clark Harris. I mean, I still don't think he's fully fit, to be brutally honest. But I'm hoping the fact that he scored that belting penalty means that his confidence is up, and that from now on, he has got a good record of scoring in this league. That's the start of his goal scoring exploits going forward. So I'd keep the front three as they are. I wouldn't touch them at all.
Yeah. Jack Caswell says if Hugill starts, you go put Jono on the bench, which is true. Would you be the same, mate? Would there be any temptation to change it?
No. The only issue, as you alluded to earlier on, was where does Hacks fit in? Who is dropped to keep Hakeem Odoffin in there, because you keep Hakeem Odoffin in your team while ever he's fit, in my view, and put him in net if necessary. But and I think probably Christ Tahi would be the answer, although I wouldn't be averse to it being Kelly. I'm a fan of Tahi as well, and Teehee, sorry. I think I like him. I think he's a player, and I think he's one of those players that, given a run in the team, a bit like Barlasser, give him a run in the team and he will come good. And I don't think he's one of those players where jumping in and out of the team helps him in any way. So I'd be comfortable to see either Kelly or Teehee partnering Hakeem Odoffin in the middle of that midfield, personally. But
I think we're back with
front three is same.
Yeah. I think the thing with Teehee, we've been asking him to play a different game to last season, and I think it does make sense, because we've been asking, the way he's been playing is what our Hacks does. He runs around a lot, puts a lot of effort in, tries to win the tackles, tries to move forward. I don't think that's Teehee's game. I don't think that's his game at all.
He's a sitter, isn't he?
He's a sitter big time, and that's going to be Teehee's problem, Joy, because Kelly is better at that than him, much better than me. I think his passing range is better. I think he moves with the ball really well, a bit like Bar last week. He can glide through, whereas Teehee can't do that. Teehee does have his limitations, where I think Kelly is just a better player, and that's going to be his problem.
I mean, and that's his role, isn't it? That centre defensive midfield role. That sort of just mooching about in front of the back four. I'm not saying he doesn't get upfield and score a scorcher like he has done previously. He does have a shot on him, but he and Hacks play in that position, don't they? And I think out of the two of them, Hacks is more mobile. Hacks has got more fluidity, more flexibility in his game. He's more box to box, I would suggest, than Teehee is.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Basil says, didn't Evans sign Hacks as a goalkeeper?
I think he did. Yeah.
Depends how short now there.
I like that. I wish I'd thought that.
Just Casual says, feel like T plays a bit more of a ball role, can pick out a pass with his feet, not his head. No. Maybe we're playing an international break. For the first time in, honestly, can't think how long. It must be around the 17-18 season we last played during an international break. That might not even be right. I got a message earlier from a Wednesday fan, a Leeds fan, kind of joking that it's a bit tin pot. I just went back saying, I'm really, really, really happy that we're playing during this international break. I just want to give me Rotherham United over Nations League football every day of the week.
Every day of every week. Nations League football is a waste of space unless your son's playing in goal for your country. Then obviously it's worth watching. But yeah, I mean, I hate international breaks. I hate this international break more than any other. You know, the season's literally just started, and all of a sudden we're stopping it again. Yeah. You know, so we get started again, then we stop it again. It just feels horrible, and it's I don't know. It kind of takes away that early season excitement of football because within 2 or 3 weeks the rug's been pulled out from under you, and it feels like you're back in no football summer again, but with crapper weather. You know, I don't like it. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to see us do it, and it's good. I mean, I'm not happy that we've probably not got any international quality players, but that's I can't believe I'm even saying that. I've been seeing some of the teams we've had down years. So yeah, no, I don't like them. I hate them. I don't like international breaks at all. So it's good to be playing. And I mean, who cares what that shower out road sale? Well, we've established already that whatever it is they say, the opposite is actually true. So yeah, you know, clearly not tin pot, is it?
No, there's only 3 games on in League One this weekend. We've got Barnsley, Bristol Rovers, Charlton, Rotherham, obviously, and Wrexham, Shrewsbury. Is that a localish game, Wrexham, Shrewsbury?
Kind of. Yeah, you say yes. Nah,
Welsh borders.
Yeah.
Against Welsh.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. There you go. That'll be the one that Sky pick as a main game if they get to choose one, won't it?
Well, because it's got the word Wrexham in title, hasn't it?
Yeah. FC Hollywood.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. On the game itself, Joy, it's not going to be pretty. I don't think you'll be seeing. I don't think there's going to be a 26 pass goal or that kind of football. But will that suit us? Do you think that'll kind of play into our hands? Because we're the away team. They've got to do something. I don't know. How do you see the game playing out?
Well, it's always a battle at Charlton for us, isn't it? I think the last time we went, it was a November Tuesday night, and we drew 1-1, and Michael Miller scored for us, didn't he, just before half time? And we did play rather well that game, if I remember. I was there, and we played rather well. And I think we thought we were unfortunate to come away with the draw, to be honest. We could have won that game, and we didn't know why the then management didn't go for the win, because we felt who were present that we could have got that game, but we didn't, and we came away with a draw. So for Charlton, that was a good result for us. So I think it is going to be a battle. I don't know how Charlton set up and play now. Do you? I mean, have you spoken to any of their guys down there?
Yeah, we've got the guy coming on. We spoke to him. He said it's kind of a classic Nathan Jones, press high from the front, really try and give lots of energy. A few of their goals this season have come from pressing mistakes, kind of out of goalkeepers and defenders. But that's not really going to hurt us because we're not going to play out from the back. So
Yeah.
it's going to be kind of you have the ball, no, you have the ball. It's kind of how I potentially see it. So a lot of air, the ball will be in the air a lot.
I'm going to say I just don't want to be watching a tennis match, to be honest.
Yeah.
I really don't want to be watching a tennis match of high balls and hoof balls. I'm hoping for a little bit of football, and I don't mind it being high tempo or in your face, as long as we give a good account of ourselves. I mean, if they're high pressing, given what we've said just recently about the lack of robustness in our defence, that might be positive for them, I would suggest. Because yes, I know we don't play it out the back, but if they've got that high press, we are prone to a rig, aren't we? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And if they're on top of us, you could see that happening again. I mean, we've had a couple of those side of goals, and you think, oh,
Yeah.
what was happening there? And that was the nature of why those goals happened, because of a high press, I would suggest. If that is the game that they employ, then doesn't, unless we've been working on that during the week, it depends on who the personnel are. I mean, if Rafferty and Raggett come back, will they be up for it? Will they be fit enough? Will they be sharp enough? Who knows? So, is it me pouring cold water on everything again?
Yeah. We expect Raff to be fit, Mick.
Yeah.
Raggett, apologies. Raggett to be fit. If Raggett's not fit, Zach Jules, I think, was on the bench last week. Is it time to give Zach Jules a go? Or if Raggett isn't fit, has Jamie McCart still earned his place? Because he's played all 4 games, I think? Or 6.
Yes, yeah.
Played all 6.
I would argue, and I know again, I'll probably get pelters for this one or not. I would argue he possibly has earned his place. I thought he was pretty decent in that last game against Huddersfield. You know, I don't think he can't be blamed for a goal because he weren't even on pitch. So I thought he was pretty decent, pretty solid. So again, you know, he's having a run of games, isn't it? And that's gonna help him to sort of get his eye in, essentially, isn't it? You know, so I have no issue with Jamie McCart. I know a lot of people do, but I personally don't. Like I said, I think him and Raggett, for me, are probably interchangeable in terms of the level that they're at. So Zach Jules, I've seen nothing of, or very little of. And one of the games he wasn't even on the bench, was he? He played one game and then didn't go on the bench the next game.
Fleetwood, he went on bench, really.
Yeah, which seems peculiar and a bit worrying with Steve Evans. Is he another one of these players that he's kind of taking a bit of a dislike to? You know, I don't know. It just seems a bit of a peculiar thing to happen. So, yeah. What question? I can't remember now. You can't even remember.
Would you keep McCart? Was McCart earned his spot? But
I think he has, yeah.
But if Raggett comes in, if Raggett's fit, Raggett comes in then. So that it's one of those, I think, where he's not earned it enough, has he?
I don't know. Well, for me, no, he doesn't. If Raggett's fit, he takes his place on bench. Yeah. If he's fitter than Jules. If he's not, then he don't even take his place there until there's an issue, you know. Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult, and it's that would be my off the top of my head with the little information that I have to hand. That's where I would be. You know, Zach Jules has been on bench. There's no issue there. Is he fitter than Raggett? Whoever's the fittest out of the two sits on the bench, but Jamie McCart starts for me.
No worries. Russell Caswell says McCart over Jules, Raggett over McCart. Yeah, I can work with that. Joshua. I think I'm in the same boat. Are you in the same boat as that, Joy?
I wasn't impressed when in that Bristol Street Motors game that Jules played. I didn't think he was of any great shakes at all. But as Mick said, they need game time, don't they? They need competitive game time. And who knows if he is the best centre half. But we've not seen that because he's not out there playing his trade. I mean, I think the guys that are in the positions now are probably in the pole position to remain that so, i.e. McCart and Humphreys. And I can't see Raggett coming in unless, I mean, if he does come in, then I think that speaks volumes, because then that says that Evans sees the number one pairing as Humphreys and Raggett. If he comes in, if he's fit. If not, then obviously it stays McCart, Humphreys, I suggest.
Yeah, I think I'm probably sort of similar to that. I want to bring you the referees watch. Simon Mather, or Mather, I'm not sure how you say it, Mather. He has refereed us just once, and that was the 2-0 win at home to Morecambe in the last season, League One. That game's only memorable because Michael Hickory had one of the worst half an hours of football I've ever seen through professional football, and somehow kept a clean sheet. So yeah, that's all I've got for you. I don't remember the ref from the day, which is obviously a very, very good thing. But again, it was overshadowed from a certain Mr. Hickory. But there you go. Right, Shelley says, Raggett aside, is the Huddersfield starting 11 our best starting 11? He says he likes Humbo when he featured, but we did look good. And that was always going to be the problem, Mick, that you've brought in Humbo. Where does Humbo fit into that system? Because he don't fit as a 10. He showed against Exeter. He didn't look very, very good as a 10. Whereas Marek will come in and done really, really well in that position. Humbo should be in the starting 11 somewhere, but I can't fit him into this system.
I don't think he does fit in the system, and the question is, are we going to continue to play it, or we were successful with it last weekend, so you would expect him to carry on with that. But it depends on the opposition, doesn't it? Humbo's, he needs to be in a team that are playing two wingers, and we have got the personnel to do that. With Wilkes playing out on one side and Humbo on the other, so it just depends how he decides to set the team up. But I think you're right. Unless he sets the team up with wingers, there isn't actually a place for Humbo at the moment. Again, Josh Cashwell's mentioned in the comments there, maybe he is rotated with Wilkes. Wilkes, he has that injury issue. He has a history of injuries done to, So I don't know what they are, how they occurred, whether it's overplaying, whatever. I don't know. So maybe he's a player that needs to be rotated, perhaps. So that's possibly another option for Humbo. But realistically, he fits in a team with two wide players, doesn't he?
He does, and that'll maybe help when Andre Green comes in, because then you have got Andre Green who can be as a striker player, as a winger player, as a 10 player, whatever. So then there is a bit more flexibility. Jack Holmes is clearly not ready to start games, although he looked pretty good against Fleetwood. He's clearly not ready to start games to give us proper width. But again, you probably have to change it. You'd have to change the system anyway from last week. You certainly deserve to keep going with it. Spanish Jules is I think regardless, Evans will start with the same team with Huddersfield just for continuity. You would like to see that, Joe. I can't remember last time we had continuity in our football club. We were genuinely talking, the last League One campaign was the last time we had any kind of continuity. So, and continuity tends to build a good team. It tends to build consistency in performances. So, I think that's probably what we're all crying out for, probably.
I agree. I mean, last season was a write-off. I mean, it's just injury after injury and people not playing to form. If it worked last week, I think it'd be foolish not to try it again this week, at least with the starting 11, and see how it pans out. I suppose the fact that you've got Humbo on the bench and Asarpo on the bench, you have got options, and Hugill, of course. So we have got options now as well. I think at some points last season, when you looked at that bench, you thought, gosh, there are no options off this bench whatsoever.
Is that the week I were on bench, Troy?
Yeah, me. That's when I took my boots as well.
Yeah.
It was just disheartening. I mean, sometimes we couldn't even put a full bench out, could we? Quite a few occasions last year. So, I mean, and that's an interesting thing, that they put that guy on, that student on, who's nobody's name we've ever seen. I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce it. Just so that we can have 7 people on the bench. Yeah. So, I mean, that's an interesting development too this week. Why somebody on that nobody's ever heard of, when you think there would have been other players that you could have imagined being put on as the 20-second player that's not counted. So I mean, we're still carrying a place as well, aren't we? Just in case we pick up a freebie, I suppose. But yeah, no, I mean, go with what the team from last week and see how it pans out.
We did that last year with the squad. Matt Taylor named an unnamed. This was an unnamed guy that we didn't know, a young player, so we could name a full bench, and then went on to never name a full bench. That was a bit pointless, really. It's a stupid rule from EFL, to be honest with you.
No.
Yeah. You know, who'd have thought? In a week of stupid rules being exposed, it's another stupid rule that can't be exposed. This one. Josh Caswell, Wilkes has a history of calf and hamstring problems, so you've got to manage those properly, especially the hamstring. Hamstring goes 6 to 8 weeks, less more than that off. Scott Kent says the only change of him would be Rafferty at right back, which I think we'll all be happy to see. Josh Caswell says didn't see Holmes or Hull on the list. No, there's under 22s don't have to be named. I think a song I don't think is on the list either. I think, but they certainly don't count towards the 22. So you can have more than the 22. Do we name just 2 keepers, or do we? Most of them,
We've only got the 2 keepers.
Yeah, so there must.
They don't count either, do they?
No, they don't.
Keepers
No, that's true actually. Yeah. We'll have to wait and see. Evans has already said they might bring a third keeper at some point anyway. So we'll see how that goes at some point. Right, let's do predictions. As we mentioned last week, Kev got on the board with a point because he predicted the correct result. Mick's on the board with a point because he predicted the correct result against Wickham, and Tom is top of the lead after predicting correctly 2-1 against Huddersfield last week. The predictions we have so far, Kev, you've got to admire Kev. He's gone 3-0 Rotherham again.
I need to have a word with Kev. I tried this one season and I didn't get any right. Who would have thought we could go through a full season without winning 2-1?
Last season as well.
Yeah.
Ben has gone positive. He's going 3-0. Apologies. He's gone 2-0 to Rotherham. Danny has gone 1-1. Tom has gone 1-2, which is, I assume, to Charlton. So you're going for a Charlton win 2-1. And Mick, you are next on my list. You have a point on the board. What's it going?
I'm going 1-1.
Okay.
I'm going with Johnny on that one. I think 1-1 will be the result, and I'll be happy with that. I'll be comfortable with that. Unless we're winning 1-0 to 97th minute, then I won't be.
And then Nathan Jones does a Jose Mourinho up to touchline because no point. Joey, what do you reckon?
Well, I was also thinking 1-1, 2 as well, but no, I'm going to go 2-1 to us. I'm going to pick up Mick's mantle. I'm going to go 2-1. I really think it'll be 1-1 or 1-0 to them, but I've got to be positive.
Absolutely. There'll be points again because everybody's predicted something. Tom's predicted them win. A few of the ones our side. So there will be points added to the board. Martin Holland's going 1-1. Josh Caswell says 1-3. He thinks it'll be Clark, Harris, Brace, and Hacks. Chris Tiller says 1-2. Thinks we're going to win away. Scott Gwynny says 1-0. YouTuber is saying 3-1 to us. Scott Kent says can't change what I said on Tuesday. He thinks a 2-2 draw. Harry says 2-0 Charlton. Then, depending on performance, he might be raging off his nut. And Phil going 2-1. Michael Miller says, sorry, despite all the simmering optimism, it's another defeat. That would be a shame. Just imagine the scenes. I almost contemplated doing an emergency podcast on Saturday if we won. I don't want to be throwing that around too easily. But yeah, it'd be incredible if we get that win because it would just get that monkey off his back. And also, to beat Charlton in their own backyard, I mean, just beating Huddersfield, you beat 2 promotion contenders week in week in consecutive games, then you start to feel a bit even more momentum because you're beating good teams. You're beating really, really good teams. 2 teams that were 100% before last weekend. So it could potentially be a bit of a statement victory if we get there. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Is there anything else we need to mention?
I don't think so. NFL season starts tonight. If anybody's interested, I know John will be interested. It's 1:30 in the morning. Might be watching a piece of that.
In more interesting scenes, Harry's saying that San Marino could win tonight. Yeah, San Marino, who haven't won for 20 years, play Liechtenstein, who haven't won for 5 years tonight, I think it is. So that's what the Nations League...
written all over it.
Well, you say that, but it's 1-0 to San Marino after 57
Is it?
minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how many minutes?
57 minutes gone.
I've got time to balls that up, haven't I? Josh Caswell. We'll finish on this. Josh Caswell, Steve Bruce in at Blackpool. Do we have any thoughts on Steve Bruce coming to League One?
He doesn't need the money, surely.
You wouldn't have thought so.
No. What?
I got the impression that they weren't very impressed.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
Blackpool Orange contingent.
I mean, let's be fair. We've got Steve Evans, so, you know.
Would you prefer Steve Evans or Steve Bruce?
Oh, Evans, every day of every week.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
It's like I said before, it's which one's going to have a cardiac arrest first.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It is weird.
To
I
be
think
honest,
Steve Bruce. Why is he coming back? Go and enjoy it. Because before he took Wednesday job, he wanted to spend some winter in Caribbean watching cricket, and he delayed the job for that. What? Just go and watch cricket for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Just enjoy it.
Yeah, it's not like he's going to be short of dosh, is it? You know, he could follow. He could be the leader of the Barmy army. With the amount of money he's got. You know,
Good.
Do that, lad. Do that.
Well, learn how to play that trumpet. He can be a trumpet player, then, couldn't he?
Yeah, and then yeah. And then
this go on.
Oh, so then they could have him back down at Swillsborough, then trumpet player, couldn't they?
Yeah, they could. Yeah. We're part of a League One chat, and when this got announced, somebody on the chat referenced Steve Bruce is an author, published author. When he was in manager of Huddersfield, he released I think a trilogy of murder mystery, football themed murder mystery books.
Well, I'll have to see if I can get hold of one of them.
I feel a Christmas present coming on for you, Mick.
Yeah.
We'll do
a book review.
We could do a book review. New York Talk, the New York Talks book club.
Yeah.
We could. We won't, but we could. Big Steve versus Big Steve, as Harry. That's December 7th of December, I think that is. So right, we'll end it there. Thank you all for being with us tonight. It has been a pleasure as always. Also, thank you everybody who joined us on Tuesday night for the phone-in, and Scott who came into the phone-in as well. We appreciate that. We shall be back on Sunday evening. We won't be doing an emergency podcast if we win. We'll just do a Sunday episode as normal. So that'll be a review of the Charlton game, and that's it, because there's no game to look forward to next week. Make sure you have subscribed if you haven't done so already on YouTube. If you're watching on X, make sure you follow us for a start. And if you haven't done so already, go across to YouTube and subscribe on there. Or if you want the audio format, you can get that on iTunes and Spotify. And make sure you give us a 5-star rating wherever it allows you to do so. And also leave a comment, again, wherever it allows you to do so. Mick, thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Mick, thank you.
No, you're very welcome, mate.
Words aren't working quite well. Anyway, enjoy. Thank you to you, and thank you to your dog as well for making the appearance.
Yeah. See you all at Charlton.
Yes. See you all soon. And as always, up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
I think I always made the comment that once a Miller, always a Miller.
Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! Good heavens, he's done it again! Another promotion for the big man.
I've got 12 bottles of champagne in my office, and we're going to drink them all night.
Do me a favor, drop me off